Hello, this is Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and I have a friend who has a Mavic and wants to learn how to use the Litchi, Litchi flight planning software. And so I couldn't help him because I just have a Bebop, but I thought maybe there would be use for a tutorial on how to use the AR.Pro 3, which is what I have. So, like waypoints and points of interest and explaining that. So that's what this tutorial is about, and I'll switch over to my tablet and we'll go through the flight planning process with a very basic tutorial.
So let's get started. We'll go over here and we'll start up my flight planner. And before we get started, I should probably say be sure to make sure that your flight plan is covers enough altitude that your drone isn't going to run into anything as you as you run your flight plan. So we'll go here, and this is going to zoom in on my house, and hopefully I can show you something here on Google Earth. I'm going to move over this way and this way, and you should be able to see some shadows if I zoom in here. Let me see, where is it? Yeah, right there. If you'll notice, right in the center of the screen, there's the shadow of a high tension wire tower. Okay, and so those are about 100 feet high, and you can't see them from a distance. And so when I do my flight planning, I have to remember that those are over there. And so that's the first thing you want to do, is make sure that your flight plan is set to go high enough that you're not going to run into something or get tangled up in some wires. There's a lot of YouTube videos on on drone failures. So let's go ahead and let's just say I want to plan a simple flight plan around my block, and then we'll go on, we'll do something a little more complicated from there. So the first thing with the AR.Pro 3, I tap here, and it's going to say, what is this going to be? Is this going to be a point of interest or a waypoint? And that's up in the upper left hand corner. Well, we'll talk about point of interest in a minute, but right now we're using a waypoint. A waypoint is a point along the way, or a point along the path that your flight plan is going to take. And so from this point, if you look up at the top here, it says I'm going to go 4 meters per second. And what does that mean? Well, let me see. I have a conversion table here. I have to dig it out. By the way, I'll put a link to that because I have one on my YouTube channel, on my website, where you can actually print off a conversion table. So 4 meters per second is about 9 miles per hour. And the altitude is going to be 9 meters. Now, 9 meters is about 30 feet. And I want to start at about 30 feet. Now, I'm going to go higher than that before I start my flight plan. But I like my drone to just go up to about 30 feet and stop and get ready to go, I guess you would say. It pauses there. I don't want to pause very long, but I want it to start out there. So that's where it's going to be, right there. We'll hit the OK, and that's my first. You'll notice if you look close, that's my first. It's not going to help any. My first waypoint, and it's going to be 9 meters high. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another waypoint right next to it here, and we'll call that a waypoint. And we want that to be more than 9 meters high, so I go over here to altitude, and we want it to be about 100 feet up. So we're going to go with 31 meters. Okay, so we're going to go roll this baby until we get to 31. There's 33, 31. 31 meters is a little bit over 100 feet. So we want it to be 100 feet, and we'll have it go, well, let's have it go more than 4 meters per second. Let's have it go about 15 miles per hour, and that's going to be about 7 meters per second. So we'll slide this over here, and so it's going to leave this point, and it's going to go 7 meters per second, about 15 miles per hour, about 100 feet above the ground. So we click on OK, and now our flight plan is our drone has started flying. So I got some background noise. I'm going to close the door. All right. So we want to go up to the corner up here at the end of our block. So we're going to spread this out right up here at this corner and make it big enough so we can put our waypoint, and in the center of the street. So we'll tap right there, and it is going to be a waypoint. Now it remembers that we wanted to go 7 meters per second. It remembers that we wanted it to be up 31 meters. And so everything is the same as the last time. So it's going to go level flight up to that point. And now we'll click on OK. And there it's going to come 31 meters. Now, if you notice, there's some trees along that route. Okay. So we want to make sure we're above those trees, and I am quite sure that this will be 100 feet will be high enough, and so we'll go with that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my finger on the waypoint, and now I can move the waypoint around and put it where I want it. So I'm going to put it just a little bit right there, and hopefully we'll miss all the trees. Okay, and then I have to click OK for the change. All right, now we're going to go straight down the block, 100 feet in the air, and go down to this corner right here, and set another waypoint by tapping there. Okay, and we're going to call that a waypoint, and same altitude, same speed, 15 miles per hour, and so that's going to be our next waypoint. And if we don't like where it is, we can move it around a little bit. So let's just check and make sure that it goes down the middle of the street and doesn't hit any trees. And as you can see, I think we're going to be okay. So it'll go down the street, and waypoint 4 is at that corner, and we're going to come down to this part right here, down to the next corner, and we're going to make it a waypoint, and it's going to go the same speed. And so we'll go ahead and click on OK. And you'll notice that's off to the side a little bit, so I'm going to take my finger and hold it on the waypoint and then readjust it to where I want it. So it's going to be right about there. Okay, and we'll click on OK. Now then, we're going to go back to our original area here, and we're going to zoom in right here. And my driveway is right here, so we'll just make it stop right in front of my driveway. And we'll call it a waypoint. And we'll click on OK. And I want it to be a little closer to my driveway, so I'm going to hold that down, and I'm going to move it right in front of my driveway. Okay. Now then, as it came down the street, let's check and see. It wouldn't have hit any trees. So let's have it go down in altitude as it's coming down the street. Instead of 100 feet, let's go with 50 feet. And 50 feet is going to be, well, 52 feet. 52 feet would be 16 meters. So let's change this. We'll just tap on it. And we'll lower this down to 15 meters. So it'll keep dropping down as it's coming along, and when it gets to this waypoint, it'll be down to 15 meters. Okay, so it's going to go from 30 meters, 100 feet, down to 15 meters or 50 feet roughly, and if that's my last waypoint, well then that'll be where it'll stop and wait for me to do something. But let's do something here. Let's just back this up a little bit, and we'll have it stop there. We'll have to click OK to make the change, and then we will tap right here, and we'll make a new waypoint, and we're going to bring that altitude down to, well, let's see, let's make it down to about 10 feet. So we're going to go down to 3 meters. Okay, and click on it there. And now I want it to be a little closer to my driveway, so I'm going to move it in to right about there. All right, we'll click on OK. Now then, that's our our first flight plan, if you want to call it that. And so we're going to go up here and we're going to save it, and we're going to hit Save Plan, and we'll just call this Demo like everybody else does, DEMO 1. Okay, and click OK. So now, as you can see, I've got a flight plan that's going to go around the block and come back home to me. Now, let's go back here and, well, let's click on Flight Plan, and then let's look at Demo. Where is Demo? Down here. It's going to take my drone about 1 minute and 33 seconds to make that route going at 15 miles an hour. That's what it says, and it probably will be that. And it'll seem like forever. That 1 minute's going to seem like a long time, but going at 15 miles an hour, it'll just go around the block like so. Okay, now that's let's say that that's our first plan. Now, what is a point of interest? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We'll just hit this first one here. All right. Yeah, we're going to abandon the last flight plan. All right, we'll go here. Oh, I see. Never mind. Okay, so we'll hit this. Just hit one of these. We're going to go clear map. Okay, we don't need that anyway. Now then, we're back here. We're going to start a new flight plan. Where's my house? There it is right there. All right. Let's say that we wanted to do a flight plan that circled around my house. Well, I don't like to fly over other people's houses, so that wouldn't be a very good plan, a very good idea for a flight plan. But let's take out here in the middle of this area here. There's a bunch of trees over here in this lot. Okay, and let's say that I wanted to circle around that tree right there. All right, so we're going to make a flight plan that is going to circle around that tree. So we'll go over here and we'll start at my house, and we'll start right there, and we'll make a waypoint, and we'll let it go 7 meters per second, but we're going to start the first waypoint at, let's go with 10 meters, which is about 30 feet, roughly. Okay, that's our first waypoint, and we'll leave that like that. Okay, so that's our first waypoint, and it's at 10 meters, and we're going to move it right about there at the end of my driveway. All right. Now we're going to make our departing waypoint right here, and that's going to be a waypoint, and we're going to set that at what, 30 meters? Yeah, 30 meters would be about 98 feet, so we're going to go 30 meters. Okay. And we want it to travel at 7 meters per second. Okay, so we got a waypoint to start from. Now we're going to get out here into the field, and we're going to put a waypoint right about here, and that's going to be a waypoint. And our altitude and our speed are the same that we want. So now we have this waypoint. Now, we want we want to fly backwards. We want to be looking at my house as we travel backwards, okay? So we're going to make my house a point of interest. So we tap there and we go up here and we call point of interest. And the altitude of 10 meters is, well, that's a little high for my house. So we'll just come down here. No, I don't want that, no. We want the altitude to be about 4 meters, so we'll do that. Okay, so our altitude is going to be about 4 meters, and the bebop's going to be looking at about 12 feet above the ground level at our house. All right, so that's our point of interest. Now, why do I want a point of interest? Well, depends on which program you're using, but with this program, you'll notice a little orange arrow, and when I put my finger on it, if I can find it there, come on. There, I got my little green arrow. I'm going to bring that back up to my house, the point of interest at my house. And you'll notice that that little arrow turns blue now because it's looking at a blue point of interest. So as my drone backs away from the house, flies away from the house, it's going to be looking toward my house because my house has now become a point of interest. Okay? Then we're going to fly over here to about here, and we're going to make a waypoint, and it's going to be the same, go about the same speed, and so we'll click OK. So, and this arrow is going to be pointing towards this point of interest. We could also have it point towards the house, but we will just have it point to where we're headed here. So here we are at 100 meters, 100 feet above the ground. Oh, I'm sorry, 30 meters, about 50 feet. No, that's about 100 feet. All right, we'll get it right. So we're about 100 feet above the ground at point 4. Now, we're going to make a point of interest right here, and it's going to be about 4 meters above the ground also. All right, now, you notice it says orbit here. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, yes, we want to orbit that. And the number of orbits, well, we can orbit, let's say we want to orbit twice. Okay, so we're going to, we just slide that back to about 2 orbits, okay? Now, the initial orbit, remember we're about 100 feet. So we're going to, I'm sorry, we're looking, the next thing down, we're looking at radius, all right? And we want our radius to be about 40 meters, well, we'll say 50 meters to begin with. And then we're going to zero in till we get to about 15 meters from it. So over here is where we set our meters, 50 meters out from it, and then we'll do that. And let's just have this be, let's change this to about 20 meters. So we just come in a little closer. Okay, so we're going to start at 50 meters away, and as we're coming around, we're going to keep coming a little closer till we get to 20 meters. Now the altitude, our initial altitude was, I think 30 meters, and so we're going to start it with that. Okay. So we're going to start at 30 meters, and then we're going to finish at, 10 meters would be about 30 feet, but I want to go a little higher than that, so let's just go to about 20 meters. Okay, or what does it say, 16 meters? Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll get ourselves back up to altitude when we're through. And so, and you notice progressive orientation already set itself up there. So here's what it's going to look like. Okay? It's pretty mixed up here. Point of interest number 4, we're going to go out, and we're going to start going around. See, there's 4, and then we got to find 5, and then 6, 7, 8, around and around, and it's gonna spiral in until it gets to point number 16, which is about the middle there. Okay, and then it would stop there if we didn't do something to get it to come back home. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a point over here, number 17, make it a waypoint, and we're going to go, we want to go up to an altitude, well, we can go up to an altitude of 30 meters, so that would be okay. And we're just going to go like this. And so now it's going to come from 16 meters up to 30 meters, coming out of the spiral that we just made. So now we got it back out of there, and we're at 30 meters, and so we're headed home now. All right. And the only thing is what we want to do is we'll go over here and we'll make a waypoint right there, 30 meters, and we'll click on OK. But what we want to do is, just for fun, we're going to look back at where we were. And so we're going to hold our finger on that arrow, bring it over here, and have it go to point of interest number 4. So it'll be looking back at where we were. And now we're going to come back home. So we're going to put another waypoint. We'll just put it there for now. And oh, come on, we want a waypoint here. Waypoint. And we want that to be about there, but we're going to move it down to, well, let's see, let's enlarge the map a little bit here. We'll say okay, and we'll get a little closer to home here. So we'll hold this down, we'll move it over here, and put it right about there. Okay, and it's going to come in at 7 meters per second, and it's going to be at 30 meters, which is about 100 feet. Okay, now we want to start, we want it to come in for, to come home, and it's going to, oh, I think I got the wrong waypoint here. We're going to go here. There, now we pick a waypoint. And we want it to go slower than what was going, so we're going to bring it down to just a few meters per second. And, oh, the altitude is 10 meters? Well, let's see. I don't know how that came about. So we're going to go from 30 meters to 10 meters, which is okay. Maybe it knows things about me that I don't know. All right. And then we'll put a point of interest where I'll be flying from, right there. We'll call that point of interest, and we'll make it a little lower, make it about 2 meters above the ground, and click OK. Okay, so we've got our flight plan all made, and so what we need to do is save this as Demo 2. DEMO2. Okay. So that's our flight plan with points of interest. And, oh, I know one other thing we need to do. One other thing. We need to set this one right here on the corner. We want it to be, as it goes along, we want it to be progressive orientation. Okay, so click on OK. And what that means, with a little, if you'll notice, there's a little P in that. What it's going to do, it was looking back at our second point of interest because of the arrow that's pointing there. But now, as it swings around, as it moves from number 23 to number 24, the one in here, the camera's gonna pan the area and swivel around to where it's pointing to where it's landing. So now we're gonna save this as demo 2, and it'll be ready to fly. So I hope that's helpful. We've covered waypoints, points of interest. We've done orbiting, and we've done or change of orientation. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful, and I want to thank you for watching.